If the apocalypse happened today, I'm running outside and I want to be the first one the meteor hits. Like, as soon as the aliens come, just zap me and take me away. I don't want to live in a bunker. I don't want to try to figure out how to grow food again. I don't want to go through the ice age. As soon as the aliens come, bzz, I'm done.
Great. So, hi, I'm Jonathan Bloomberg, writing for movies in Sweden. And I've seen the entire first season, of course, and I really love the action that only Paul and Rhett seem to be able to do this well. So it was really nice to watch you both in this show. And I kind of wanted to start out with asking about kind of the violence with like the funny twist and also having the violence, like catching a head beautifully in the air, those kind of jokes. So I was wondering how both of you kind of had it on set, shooting like these big action scenes, but also keeping the humor alive in this way that you did.
Stephanie.
I mean, I'll give you a great example of mixing action with humor. There's a scene further into the season, and I don't want to give too much away, but there's a great bar fight. And there's this moment where Anthony's absolutely just kicking the shit out of someone, and you hear him scream in this like great, high-pitched, just absolutely unhinged, deranged, hilarious scream. And I think that that's kind of like what the show is. It is this really great mix of really violent, bloody, gory, but also absolutely unhinged comedy. And I don't know, I think like it's very easy for both of us to live in that space because we don't take anything too seriously.
Yeah, I think that was one of the big things being on set, and everything. Every day on set was just like a light-hearted, easy day. There was never an issue of, making something more than what it was, and that's what was so great about it, and that's what was so much fun. It was the ability to take these moments and, where it could be dark and gloomy, find the most ridiculous way to do it so that it would be funny.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah, and also a lot of people grew up playing Twisted Metal. So I was wondering how your way into this world looked. Did you guys play it at all?
Anthony?
I grew up playing Twisted Metal. I just really sucked at it. I've literally never won a battle in Twisted Metal, and I've played it probably 1,000 times, and every single time I lose. So that's my background with Twisted Metal. But the game is so different than the show because there was no like character development or story in the game. The game was just like, you shoot me, I shoot you. So it was kind of like the creative dream to be able to get these characters that were so iconic and be able to, imagine and come up with their backstory. It's, you don't get that often. I can't think of another game where that would be the case.
Yeah, so many of these games really have to stick to the characters that have been developed over time in the gameplay, and like we really got to just go, to use a phrase I've heard Anthony use before, buck wild in the development of the characters and the worlds and the ever sort of like expanding universe of Twisted Metal, because you really don't know what's coming around the next corner.
Yeah, and going off on that, how does the show appeal to fans of Twisted Metal from before, and how does it expand on that whole thing for people who don't really know the game at all?
I think Michael Jonathan Smith has done an excellent job of, I don't know, of this, like, I know they call them Easter eggs in the industry, but I think they're more like little Valentines to people that really love the game. They're are these little gifts that he's dropped throughout the series, whether it's the name of a bar, whether it's a character's outfit that you see in the background. People that love the games are going to be really satisfied to see those little bits and gifts throughout this series. But I also think it's a sort of standalone story in a way, because it's like, it's this wild action-packed buddy comedy at its core. It's a buddy comedy with a lot of crashing cars, which is really fun to watch. It's really, excuse my French, but it's really fucking fun to watch two people talk shit to each other and then kick a whole lot of ass.
Yeah, and do you agree with that too, Anthony?
Oh, 100%. I think one of the best things about the show, aside from that, is the idea that, you know, with the characters being who they are, you know, we all have a relationship with them already. So we all have a complete understanding of who these characters are to us. And, you know, what Michael and the writing team did so well was just filling everything around that. So now, you know, you have your relationship with these characters, but now the more you learn, the more of a relationship you have with them. So I think that kind of helped us out in a brilliant way to wrangle the audience in and make them want more.
Yeah, for sure. And like video game adaptations on movie and TV had a really bad stigma during the 90s and early 2000s. Why do you think studios are now more willing to go back into video game properties like Super Mario Bros, Halo, The Witcher, and now Twisted Metal again?
I think it's a different generation now. I think if you look at the game movies and the gaming systems now, it's much more interactive. And games like this, like, you know, Twisted Metal, as a dad, I can sit and watch this with my son and be like, this is the shit that we used to play. This is the stuff that we used to do, you know, and my sons are like, these characters are weird. Like, what, you know, what is this, you know? So it's just, for me, it's really, and the same thing with Super Mario Brothers, the same thing with Sonic the Hedgehog. All those movies, I watched those with my kids, and because we play the video games together. So I think now it's just that new generation that's come in that gives you because there's always an issue of trying to relate to these little fuckers. So it's like it gives you the ability to relate to them without jumping out of a window.
And I wanted to address this one to you, Anthony. You've been acting and doing, like, I think you have almost 75 credits on IMDb for the past 20 years. And for the past 10 years, you've done all the Marvel stuff. But this is only like the fourth thing that you've actually executively produced. So I'm guessing there is something in this project in particular that made you want to do that and go the extra mile, even behind the scenes as well. So what was it with this project that kind of spoke to you in that way, and how did that differentiate from all the other projects that you've done?
Well, with this, it was kind of like I feel the creative dream, having these characters in something that I've had a relationship with for so long, being Twisted Metal, and just kind of having it was the perfect storm. I mean, if you look at everybody associated with this project, it's just like amazing, 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 amazing. So to be in a room with that and be able to associate with that and have input on that, it was just, you know, trying to fit in with those guys and see how we could make this project the best it could be. So it was just my relationship with the source material and me wanting it to be fun and cool and interesting and feeling like I had something I can bring to the table and develop it more.
Yeah, and since you hadn't played the game, Stephanie, what kind of drew you to this part?
The scripts were phenomenal. I read them all before I even met Anthony. They were phenomenal. I thought they were a fantastic mix of comedy, which is my first love, action, which I have fallen in love with, and like I said, the relationship between the two lead characters, the sort of buddy comedy element, I miss that. I grew up on those kinds of movies where it was like these two characters that were a complete mismatch, and as you watch the film, like, you just absolutely are on their side because they're a motley crew of two. And I miss those kinds of movies, and this series is that. I really feel at its core it's a buddy comedy, which is I long for. And then this sort of very subtle, very smart commentary on the world as it is, and the fact that the two leads of this show are a Black man and a Latina woman. I mean, all of that stuff was really important to me as I was reading the scripts and thought about how smart and funny they were. And then, I did a chemistry test with Anthony, and he was a complete idiot. So I was like, well, I got to sign on because I've got to save this. I got to save this show. I did a screen test with Anthony, and it was very clear that we had a similar sensibility about how we like to work and how free we are with, like, comedy and fun on set. And like, I thought it was really going to work, and I think it does.
Yeah, obviously there is a lot of horrible stuff happening in the world of the show, but is there anything about the lo-fi, less technology-soaked world that you think would appeal to you in real life too?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think the best thing about this show and the idea of living in this world that they live in is they literally go back to survival mode. I wouldn't be that guy. If the apocalypse happened today, I'm running outside and I want to be the first one the meteor hits. Like, as soon as the aliens come, just zap me and take me away. I don't want to live in a bunker. I don't want to try to figure out how to grow food again. I don't want to go through the ice age. As soon as the aliens come, I'm done. So, but I think there is something very, like, refreshing about going back to a very simpler way of a more simple way of living.
Yeah, would you agree with that, Stephanie?
I mean, I love the idea of everyone not being glued to their technology at all times, but I mean, if a meteor hits, I don't know. I don't think I want to be out there underneath the fucking rock. I'm fighting for survival. I think I would, like, scrape together whatever I have and try to make it through. I do think one of the cool things about this series is, like what Anthony said, like, it is, how do you survive without all the bells and whistles of modern life? How do you make it through? What do you rely on? And ultimately you rely on yourself.